Monumental, a 10-foot bronze sculpture of John Tarleton. Set in the center of a rebuilt campus core, the newly renovated Alumni Island, Tarleton towers over campus visitors as a symbol of history, tradition, and far-reaching vision. Tarleton, a businessman and farmer with little formal education, bequeathed nearly $100,000 to fund the college that has become Tarleton State University. More than 100 years later, the university has installed this monumental bronze as an iconic focal point to honor its legendary founder. World-famous painter and sculptor Kenneth Wyatt, a 1946 Tarleton graduate, created the likeness based on the one known photo of John Tarleton, a photo taken when he was in his 80s, shortly before his death.
As they looked at it, the committee looked at it and said, could you make him between 60 and 70 years old? Well, yes. When I got to the point where I thought it looked enough like the picture, I quit. And then they looked at it and said, well, couldn't you make him look just a little bit less stern? And you'll see what I mean. I put a little bit of a smile on his face. Not much, because I don't think I think he took learning serious.
Wyatt recalls when the university approached him to create the statue.
Well, when they said John Tarleton was only 5'6", 5'7" at the most, and then they wanted to do him 10 foot high, I thought, whoops, that's taller than I had in mind. That's monumental.
The key to creating a monumental sculpture, Wyatt explains, is the mathematics.
All the math and everything has been done by a man called Leonardo da Vinci. He wrote a book one time, or somebody wrote a book about him, and it's just crammed full of knowledge. It's got everything you'd ever want to know.
The famous Italian artist and inventor calculated that a typical man stands 8 heads high. Wyatt began with a 24-inch model. The head then takes the top 3 inches. The rest of the anatomy is similarly proportioned.
And this work has already all been done for you. You don't have to go measure anybody. I've measured myself a dozen times just to make sure they were right, but they were.
Working with aluminum wire to hold the clay, Wyatt began creating the details. Clothes were of particular interest to the sculptor.
Looked up everything I could about Tarleton. Most of the time he wore overalls, but we talked about that. He did have good clothes. He married a real classy society gal down at Waco, Texas. And so we know he dressed up at least once and went on his honeymoon and so on.
That led to the silk vest, the watch chain, and the 1880 style coat with piping along the edge and sleeves. Because Tarleton washed and mended his own clothes, Wyatt left the pants uncreased.
The things I learned about Tarleton, he was a walker. He walked everywhere he went. And at least once or twice a year, he walked from Nashville, Tennessee to Texas to prove the land, in other words, to write down. And he did that so many times. He owned so much land out here that he made so many trips.
Wyatt tells the tale of a man watering his horses when Tarleton walks by.
And he said, would you go down the road a little way? He said, want to get on and ride? He said, no, I'm in a hurry, and just went on walking.
He walked in specially made square-toed shoes in which he kept gold coins for safety.
He walked everywhere, and he was always afraid that somebody might rob him. So he put gold coins in those square-toed shoes. And when I read that, I knew I was going to put square-toed shoes on that boy.
That Tarleton was a businessman and farmer, not really a rancher, led to the bowler in his hand, not a 10-gallon hat. The monumental statue has one additional feature, a duck at his heel.
And I was telling some people out at the restaurant one night, they came by and they said, oh, put Oscar P. in it. Be sure don't leave him out. So we put him in. And it's good because he gave us another bolt to put into the base.
When Wyatt finished the 24-inch clay sculpture, it traveled to an Oklahoma foundry. To create the statue, the foundry poured the bronze in 250 to 300 pound segments, and welded them together. The foundry delivered and installed the monument in mid-July.
President Tavio, Ms. Aycock, Mr. Boer, Dr. Wyatt, Mr. Cornegie, would you please do the honor of showing John Tarleton his new home on Alumni Island?
And I want Tarleton to look like a person that you'd say, that looks like a person.
A monumental person.